Rob, you can have a happy ending.
Like
Four men in a wormhole!
Welcome to Four Men in a Wormhole. This is episode 10, and I'm your everboarding host, Stephen Gurevitz, and joining me as ever is Simon Cohen. Hello, Simon.
Hey, Stephen. Hi, guys.
Good to see you, Simon. Thanks for joining us. And Adam Leach.
Hi, Stephen. Hi, everyone. How you all doing?
All good. Thank you, Adam. Good. And Toll Silverman.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, so here we are back again, recording another episode. And as always, we're going to dive straight into our sci-fi highlights since we last did one of the shows. So let's go straight into a bit of Star Trek. Simon, you're going to do a Star Trek Discovery Season 4 review and poke about with Picard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how much I can say, though, on either of them, because you guys haven't watched Discovery yet, and possibly lots of other people haven't either. And Picard, at the time of recording, we've still got, I think, a couple of episodes to go. But so I'll just say,
yeah. Are you enjoying them? I mean, are you enjoying them? Which one did you like best?
Yeah, let's go with okay. So let's go with Discovery first, which I think I talked about a few weeks ago when it was about halfway through the season, and it finished now a few weeks back. I would say it was a good season. It was enjoyable. There were 2 or 3 really, really good episodes in the middle somewhere. So it kind of sort of rose up. It started getting really good, and then it just sort of trailed off a little bit at the end. It wasn't as disappointing at the end as season 3, where, as we all know, the biggest problem in the universe was a child that was upset and screaming. But yeah, it's better than that. It's not great.
And is it okay? I mean, I just feel like I'm not going to watch it because there's something very complicated you have to do. You have to update the firmware on your TV. You have to write some extra assembler for your phone to be able to download the correct.
Yeah, then you have to wait for a full moon and quarter past the. Yeah, it's well, I think it's finished on Pluto TV now. But or maybe there's another week or so because they're showing it, I think, all through the day, and then after that I don't know how to watch it. I think maybe
Paramount Plus. You've got to pay
Paramount
money.
Plus when that launches, but I don't think it has yet.
And, can you even pay for that?
And then you can buy.
It'd be really interesting whether they could. So now that it's on Paramount, obviously, it would be up to Paramount to invest in recommissioning it. Then I guess it depends on the syndication. I guess, but
it was Paramount anyway. It was CBS.
Oh, was it
Paramount? Yeah. They were paying for it.
I feel like it's. I mean, like I say, I haven't seen the most recent series, so I've got the one before to go by, which we all agree wasn't great. So I just can't feel enough motivation to pay for a subscription.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But here's the thing, though: if there was no other Star Trek on TV, you'd go Star Trek Discovery. It's so great, we've got Star Trek on the TV. But actually, Picard came along and showed us how to do Star Trek properly again. And Picard is exciting and fun, and especially on season 2, there's like edge of the seat action going on. It's so much more enjoyable. And so yes, Discovery is good because it's Star Trek. So I will watch it. But Picard is really good.
I don't need two series going on at the same time. I think, especially if one is free to me and one isn't, especially for me anyway. I'm like, we can talk about Picard, but I'm loving Picard. So, for me, it's sort of satisfying my need. Stephen?
I do think, I mean, we normally discuss the shows here, but from a business perspective, and I actually think this is important because companies not only create content to make money, they're custodians of pieces of culture, if you know what I mean, that is important to us. And yeah, if you're in America, whether you think it's value or not, you can subscribe to Paramount Plus. But if you're outside of America, there is no easy way of watching Discovery. And they're about to launch Strange New Worlds. And I'm not too sure. Whereas Picard's on Amazon, I'm unsure if Strange New Worlds will be anywhere except on Paramount Plus. And it's like, why would you restrict it to your own service when you know you haven't made your service available to most of the world? Why not at least for the first season let it be on the other channels? The whole business side is very odd, and like I said, and it's not just their commentary on their business. They're damaging the brand. They're stopping new people getting access to Star Trek. And I think it's
if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't be made in the first place, right? They resurrected it. I mean, Paramount, I think, always had the rights to it. So you're right, Stephen. But at the same time, if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't be on at all.
I'm not too sure. They just would have put it on Amazon and Netflix, and they would have paid for it as a licensing partner with Paramount. It's just Paramount want to have their own streaming service, and so this is a bad time for if you're a fan of Star Trek. And I don't mean that you want to watch Star Trek, even though if you're a fan of it, assumably you do. But if you care about Star Trek, my point is, this is a bad time to be siloing it in Paramount.
Yeah, well, actually, it's just Disney launched a streaming service at the perfect time, didn't they? Just lockdown, everyone doing it. Paramount are doing it probably just at the opposite time. But I agree with Simon. We should.
Yes. So just a couple more things on Picard that and in particular the differences between Picard and Discovery. I think as we've talked about before, Discovery is a very woke show, and perhaps at times a little bit too much. Picard, on the other hand, in the very first episode of season 2, and you had a drunk girl on the bridge, you had a captain smoking a cigar, you had things that they never would have allowed in Discovery, just because it was it's just a different kind of show. From episode 1 of season 2, you're already like, well, I can see this is going to be good. And then the other thing that I think is really interesting is it's got a really good cast, and I'm not talking about Patrick Stewart, who obviously is an amazing actor, and Jerry Ryan, who we knew from 7 of 9. But the one I think that has really shone this season is Girardi, the doctor who I've googled her name. Her name is Alison Pill. Sorry, Alison, for not knowing your name. I'm sure you're listening. But she is like, since episode 1 when she was drunk on the bridge, and I'm not gonna say too much more on what journey she goes on this in this season, but she's absolutely brilliant. She was just sort of a bit annoying, a bit in the background in season 1.
I totally agree with that. Her character in season 1, I didn't really like her, but thought she was a bit annoying. But yeah, in season 2, she's like almost the star of the show, isn't she? She's brilliant.
Really part of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm loving Picard for all the reasons you said, Simon. I think it's full of attitude. It's gripping storylines. It's quite adventurous.
And episode 2, sorry to interrupt, but this is important. I watched episode 2, and I walked away from the TV, and I said to my wife, I said to Jenny, I think that might be the best episode of Star Trek I've ever seen. So if anyone is not watching Picard,
what did Jenny say? I couldn't stop talking about Star Trek.
I don't think
Sorry,
she. I didn't get any kind of reply.
Also, the writers of Picard really understand Star Trek. There's so many references to Star Trek for the movie. So many references. There's tons of there's lines repeated. There's scenes recreated. They're really tapping into the rich history of Star Trek, and they're doing it with a tongue-in-cheek way.
Yeah, but it's not. It's completely non-derivative. It's original, though, isn't it? It's very original still. It doesn't feel derivative at all, even though it feels very much Star Trek. It feels very new.
Exactly, it feels like Star Trek, which Discovery has never really felt like Star Trek.
No, the Orville feels more like Star Trek.
Well, I was just, are we talking about the Orville? I didn't want to step on anyone's toes, but the other thing is, Stephen, what you said about other Star Trek being available, it's like also Orville being on Disney now. I've just got into that, and it's great, and that feels like Star Trek. And I mean, I know it's not Star Trek, but it gives you that kind of, definitely is the feels like Next Generation, doesn't it? I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's very interesting how much they get that right. Orville. And that's a tribute show. It's a tribute show to Star Trek. Whereas Discovery, the whole point of Discovery is they've gone all into the future, and all of this, they're clearly trying to do something different with Star Trek to appeal to a different type of demographic and audience, which I guess is their right. But they've left their fans behind.
And then the Orville is just going, no, we know who we're targeting this at, and if you like the Next Generation, you're going to like this. And
which is similar to the animated cartoon, All Decks, which I think you said in the past, Adam. You know, other people might enjoy it, but it really is aimed at the Next Generation loving audience. It's a complete tribute to that world. And anyway, I have seen a trailer for Strange New Worlds. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I do think that will have more bite to it than Discovery. I think it's way more in the direction of Picard, but it may still have some elements of what we don't like in Discovery. So I don't know how we're going to get to watch it, but if we do ever get to watch it, that will be interesting to compare. Put it that way.
When there's a tribute show on Netflix, when it's so, then we get to watch it.
Then we'll get to watch it. Well, anyway, Simon, as always, thanks for raising the subject of Star Trek. We all love that. Tal, I know we've discussed this a few times, but I think I was the one who originally started to watch it, but then drifted away. You're now heavily into Upload.
Well, I say heavily. This is actually going to be. I haven't got a huge amount to say about season 2. I have finished watching it. I just finished it the other night, and it's good. It didn't hold my attention like the first season did, just because I guess we're so familiar with the concept now of what's going on. Is that now they've almost moved on to creating the story within it, whereas almost like the Upload elements were. In the first series were almost enough to keep you interested, and to sort of having all those, that referral between the real world and the uploaded world, and everything that was going on. And now, because you sort of know all that in season 2 and you're familiar with characters, it did need to move on story wise, and it does. But the problem is it's a short season. I'm not quite sure. I think the first season had 10 episodes maybe, but the second season's only got 7. It's not been pulled. They did finish the season, and it has finished on a cliffhanger. There's still no confirmation as to whether or not they're going to do a season 3, but it's definitely left open to do that. It's still very funny. There's a whole thing in this season about her the girlfriend wanting a baby, and that's quite funny how they deal with all that, a virtual baby and all this kind of thing. And there's some bits and pieces like that are quite well done and quite funny, and whatever. But for me, I just felt that the story wasn't that strong going onwards, and it's like, and I just think that I'm not sure. I mean, I will watch season 3 if it happens. I've generally enjoyed it. I think it's been quite good. It's been quite well received, I think, as a series. Sorry, but yeah, I'd say. I'd say it's worth watching them, but unfortunately, for me, it didn't quite have the same appeal as the first season. I don't know, has anyone else seen?
A bit down on it.
I got a bit. I was distracted when I was watching it, but I just found it didn't hold my attention as much.
Well, I'm going to try and revisit it. I think I promised to do that.
After that blazing review.
Like I say, I think it's worth watching. It's good. It's good telly. It's entertaining. The characters are fun. It's reasonably well written, but I wouldn't say it's like the first season I thought was really, really good. And I did want to watch, you do want to put the next one on straight away. Whereas with this one, it's like, actually,
do you think, would I stand any chance of getting my wife to watch it with me? Do you think, is it got enough kind of comedy?
Because it's not obviously sci-fi. In fact, I think Nikki picked up when I just started watching season 2, and she hasn't seen any of season 1. She dipped into a couple of episodes and actually almost found it quite interesting, even though she didn't know anything about it, which was interesting because obviously it does carry on very much, and you need to sort of know the story from season 1. But she thought it was okay. I think if she'd have watched from the beginning of season 1, I think she probably would have been reasonably into it. I think it's something you could watch with people that aren't particularly, because it's not particularly sci-fi. I mean, it is in terms of.
But is it more comedy? Is it dark? Does that?
It's very it's definitely very much a comedy. It's very much a comedy. Yeah. It's quite irreverent, and it's quite it's all about the relationships between kind of the virtual people and the real people that kind of work on the system that they're within, and how they communicate, because they have these things called angels, which are basically the people sitting at a desk kind of creating the world and helping them in that world, but they can kind of put on a VR headset and basically be kind of put into the world. So then they interact, but there's a load of funny stuff about that and how they kind of try and interact with each other, and kind of are in charge of each other.
There's a bit of that in Free Guy
Yes.
the Ryan Reynolds movie, when they're all in a video game, that the programmers actually become characters in the video game to kind of debug and to work.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's very similar to that. So, and I think you'd like it, Adam, because it's very computery. You know, there's a lot of computer references. It's all about software and the glitches in software and things like that kind of create this sort of these issues and stuff that they kind of have to work. And there's a whole kind of subplot going on. But yeah, it's I'd say it's good. It's good. It's worth a watch. It's worth a watch. But I know I haven't massively sold it. But I don't want to hugely raise your expectations and then go, oh, that was okay, because it's just a good thing if you've got a bit of time. And like I say, it's a short season, so actually you get through it pretty quick. I think they're about 45-minute episodes, if that. Might not even be that. So yeah, pretty quick.
Excellent. Cool. Thank you, Tal. Adam, the Adam Project.
Yes.
It's not a project about you, is it?
Well, obviously it would be great if it was. I've chosen this because obviously it has my name in it. So firstly, that drew my attention to it. And in it, Ryan Reynolds, the main character, and his name is Adam, goes through a wormhole. So, it's about a guy called Adam in a wormhole. So for me, it appealed. Because I'm both in a wormhole and my name is Adam. But yeah, this is a Netflix movie. Ryan Reynolds. It's a very kind of nostalgic, almost 80s like feel about it. Very sort of Last Starfighter, E.T. kind of vibes. It very much plays on that sort of nostalgic. Although it is a original story. It's a time travel story as well. So, I love time travel and that. So that appeals to me. It's an interesting storyline. I think as I've said before, with time travel in popular culture, it tends to heavily be about meeting one's parents. And this is a bit like that as well. The main character is a kind of a jet fighter in the future. He travels back in time and meets himself. Doesn't create any mind-bending paradoxes, but they kind of cover that. And then they go back and then meet up with their dad, who's played by Mark Ruffalo, and really great chemistry between, I don't know the actor's name who plays the kid, and Ryan Reynolds, and then Mark Ruffalo. I just thought this was a great movie. It's quite sentimental. It's quite emotional. It's about the relationship this kid has kind of with himself, with his older self, a lot about growing up. In here, there's a lot about relationships with your parents, father-son relationship. So I thought it was a bit emotional. I don't know. I've seen some people have said it's a bit naff and a bit I don't know, over emotional and a bit naff. But I really enjoyed it. I really loved this movie. It's got good elements of action. So I'd really recommend it.
Tal, you had a question?
Yeah, no, I feel like I've read this and not made it up. I'm hoping I didn't make it up, but because it's quite a cool story. But I read that they found the boy that played the son, played himself as a younger man, the boy that played himself,
the young Adam,
as a younger boy. They found him online because he'd done basically either on like TikTok or Instagram or something. He'd done a Deadpool monologue where he basically knows all the lines. He knows all the lines of Deadpool, like inside and out, and he'd done all this and basically did it. And then they were like, and then I think Ryan Reynolds saw it and was like, right, he's me.
Oh, brilliant! I didn't know that.
And then ended up getting the role to do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is cool. Ryan Reynolds is very Ryan Reynolds in it. I mean, you've got to kind of like, he's got his shtick, hasn't he? And that's what he leads into. So like, it could be the character from Free Guy in this movie. It could be. It's not Deadpool. It's not that, but it's that character that he pulls off. But yeah, that's a cool story.
Simon.
Yeah, I saw the movie as well. I completely agree with you, Adam. It's just a great fun movie. It's also pretty family friendly. You can sit with your kids and watch it. And I didn't quite get the family and the sentimental elements to it, but I don't think it moved me quite as much as it moved you, Adam. But
I was obviously having a low moment. It
was your time of the month. But a thoroughly enjoyable movie, and I would heartily recommend it. If you haven't seen it, go and see this.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you don't have to go anywhere to see it, by the way. It's on Netflix. You might have to go to a different room, but that's as far as it goes.
Excellent. Moving on, I guess, from Adam with the Adam Project, which is, by the way, something I do want to watch. And maybe it's something I'll be able to watch with my wife because she likes Ryan Reynolds, and it does feel something they can emotionally connect to. Is I completed the all the Bobbyverse. So read them all. Read Heaven's River, which I really enjoyed, and I just think it's what the author's done is really clever because I'm just randomly naming things, but things like Harry Potter, Star Wars, whatever, all of these universes, there's limits to what you can do because people can only be in one place at one time and this, that, and the other. What's brilliant about what Dennis E. What's his name?
Dennis E. Taylor.
Thank you, because it's back to front of my screen. Dennis E. Taylor has done with his Bobverse is wonderful. You can switch characters on the fly. They're all different Bobs. They've all got similar personalities, but not quite the same. But you can have a complete disconnect and go from one thing to another. And it's easy just to suspend your disbelief. I'll come to you in a minute, Tal. It's easy to suspend your disbelief because that's how it works. They've got instant, faster than light communications everywhere. So literally, you can jump around, and so I can imagine both as the person reading it, if you've got short attention span, or if you're an author with short attention span, and you just it's like, I've got another idea, I'm going to jump to the idea, and then I'll come back to that plot line when I know what I'm going to do with it. I can imagine both for the reader and for the author, the whole mechanics is created, gives them infinite flexibility just to write random stories and stick them together.
And the only sci-fi that you, like, every single piece of sci-fi that ever existed or was ever written about is somewhere in these books, with the exception of time travel. Everything else is in there. Like, if you read through it, it's impressive, and it's also impressive that you don't see many snooker players go on to have a career in sci-fi writing. So I think it's you got to give him credit for that.
You had something you wanted to
No, it's
say.
just a quick question. So are there there's 4 books, is that right? Or was there more?
Yeah,
There's 4.
I think this is we were having this discussion, weren't we, Simon? I think it's 4. I think I've read 3 out of the 4. It's just
I only read the first one because obviously we did it. I read the first one. I did enjoy it, but for me, that very premise that you see as the strength of the books, I struggle a little bit with, just because when it was jumping around to the different ones, I don't know, because actually I listened to it as an audiobook, and it's the first audiobook I've listened to for probably maybe 3 or 4 years, because I normally like the old school reading books. So maybe because it was it was the first audiobook I'd listened to, maybe I was trying to do other things when I was listening to it, and I got distracted. Well, I found that I did struggle a bit every now and again to work out which one he was talking about that was in a particular set of storylines, because there were so many different threads going on at once.
No,
does that get clearer in the other books, or is it still as confused?
No, in the later books, it just gets easier because your mind gets used to it. Secondly, I think he gets better at doing it. But thirdly, I don't think it works as well as an audiobook. I've been reading them. When you go to a new chapter, it says which Bob you're dealing with. And yes, I'd still think by the time I was on the second or third or fourth book, my brain was ready for it. And actually, even though there's hundreds, I think, tens of thousands of these Bobs, all with different names, the books center on the same roughly 20. So by the time you're into book 3 and book 4, your brain will pick up you know where they're being.
I almost feel like I need to reread the first book and then read them all and sort of binge them a bit, because I think
binge them. That's what I did.
I would keep going on it. They are very enjoyable, and I know we reviewed the first one like a year or so ago, didn't we? But your criticism is a fair one, Tal, and it does. Sometimes it is a bit confusing. It does move around, and sometimes you're not bought into all of the stories. You like that one and that one, but not that one and that one. But if you keep,
like you want to find out more about.
I want to get back to what's going on that planet. Don't tell me about this planet. I don't care about it. And but keep going. I think effectively the first 3 books are like a bit of a trilogy. There is a sort of an ending at the end of the third one, but the 4th book is different. The 4th book, which is called Heaven's River, is isn't sort of 4 or 5 or more different planets and different stories. It's really only 2, and they are tied together to a certain extent as well. And it obviously still carrying on from what's gone before. But and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it. It was simpler. It was clearer to understand. It was largely there was one main story and one sub story.
I think also there's more Bob books coming. I think.
Are there really?
I remember seeing something on Twitter that he tweeted that he signed a book deal for for a couple more Bob books. I don't know whether it was
these quite close together. They're not that old. They've not been around that long, have they? These books, I don't think.
No. The last one was 2019, 2020. So when the one I finished it, it's obvious. Well, not obvious, but it's finished in such a way that it can just keep going. And that's the mechanic. He can just more new Bobs, new storylines, and every so often go back to the old Bobs. He can just run with it.
Do you think it would work as a movie? I mean, it doesn't have to.
It would work
on their own. They don't have to.
Well, a lot of it, I think it would work brilliantly as an animated movie. I think it'd be better as an animated movie than it would with real people. But you know what would really be cool?
Like a series.
I was going to say it would work as a sort of a real virtual reality experience where you could go and visit the Bobs in their VR. Yeah, and just hang out with a Bob. Choose a Bob to hang out with in VR. I mean, I think making it a living installation could be really interesting. Simon?
Just Googling if there's going to be another Bobbyverse movie, and I'm on DennisTaylor.org, where he talks about all of his different books, and I might go and try some of these other ones. But anyway, on the Bobbyverse, he says, I've started working on my notes for book 5 of the Bobbyverse. There are too many outstanding threads right now. I may not be able to resolve them all or do them justice. There will have to be some triage. Working title is Voyages. I don't think that's going to stick. And that was an update just a few days ago.
Oh, well, there we go.
So we'll get it eventually.
We're bang on. Or he knew what we were going to talk about. But there you go. So that's my big accomplishment and be my main sci-fi focus. So that brings to end the section of what we have been watching, reading, or experiencing, which allows us to move on to our next special segment. So it's that time in the show where we have a special guest who enters the wormhole. And this week, we're very excited to have my good friend, Robert Rams, who is going to enter the wormhole. Rob, welcome.
Thank you very much for that introduction. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you.
Hello.
Hi, Rob. Hello. Welcome to our wormhole. Is this the first wormhole you've been to, or have you been to others?
I think it's the first one that I know of, but you never know.
Interesting. No, you'd never know.
You never know.
You never know. And this might be one of the few wormholes in the universe you can enter and leave. So that's exciting as well.
Yeah. There's very few gravitational forces that will squash you to a pulp in this particular wormhole. So you're okay.
Yes. Yeah, we might bore you to death, but we won't squeeze you to a pulp. So, Rob, we want to know a little bit about your love and interests when it comes to sci-fi. So I know you're going to be asking us some questions to contribute to the epic 4 Men in a Wormhole ongoing quiz and league table. But hold on, before I say anything, a hand's gone up.
Yeah. Who's winning the quiz at the moment?
Well, you are, but why don't you gloat in a minute? Let's focus on Rob.
It's never too early to gloat.
Never too early. So let's focus on Rob for a minute. So Rob, what is your earliest memory of sci-fi or fantasy?
Doctor Who was really my earliest memory. I know it's a cliche to say, but hiding behind the sofa as my father and I sat down to watch an episode of Doctor Who going back to my early childhood. And that's where my love of Doctor Who really started. And to this day, it continues.
Which doctor, Robert?
Hold on, I'm going to guess. Sylvester McCoy.
Well, it was Sylvester McCoy, but my father took me back to show me old episodes. So it was all of them, to be honest. And I then really fell back in love with it when Russell T Davies relaunched it with Tennant. Or not Tennant, it wasn't Tennant, was it? It was... Eccleston. Yeah, there we go.
That could have been one of the quiz questions.
Well, how could it be a quiz question when the guy asking doesn't know the answer?
Do I get a point?
Yeah, you can have 5 bonus points.
5. I'm writing that down.
There we go.
Out of interest, because I'm the only person here who actually really liked the McGann American co-production one-off. Were you a fan of that?
Not really. No, it's too cliched. It's cheesy. It's not really my sort of Doctor Who.
But it did have more than 3 people on screen at the same time, which is something the BBC have never been able to achieve.
I'm not sure that's a positive, Stephen.
Yeah,
I'm still not convinced. I
It's
still
not
think
a measure of success.
part of Doctor Who's charm is it's not lack of budget, but it's kind of it's pared back.
Isn't
That's what it needs to be.
It's totally. He visits the universe a person at a time. But anyway, moving on back to so that's your earliest memory. But name us some of your favorite. I hate it when people say what is your favorite, but name us some of your favorites. You can name more than one sci-fi movies or TV shows over the years which you've experienced. Give us some of your highlights.
So running on the theme of my father, and he was the one that really got me interested in Star Trek. And one of my earliest memories is of trundling up from the sunny South End to London to the Royal Albert Hall to go to a convention. And Shatner was the key guest, but for me, it's all about Will Wheaton. And he came out onto stage and gave this incredible speech about politics, about Star Trek and how it was all interlinked and everything that was going on. And yeah, that's one of my earliest memories, and from then on, I was hooked on everything that was in the Star Trek universe.
Adam,
I was going to say, Rob, do you know that Will Wheaton has just released a new book? So I think he had an autobiography out a couple of years ago, which was a collection of his essays from his blog, but he's just done a kind of revisited that sort of 10 years on. So he's now, I think it's called Still Just a Geek. I think his original was called Just a Geek, and this one's called Still Just a Geek.
I don't know, I'd have to check that out. I'm rewatching The Big Bang Theory at the moment, and I love all the cameos that he plays in that. Brilliant.
I'm rewatching that as well, actually. I've just started, literally a few weeks ago, watching that again. It's
the perfect show for 2 episodes on the way to work and 2 episodes on the way back from work. And I've got season 5 already.
Similar to 4 Men in a Wormhole. I think that's a great show to watch on the way to work and on the way back. So you had your hand up.
I was just going to ask a repetitive question and ask if you had a favourite Star Trek genre, like within the series or films.
For me, because it's what I grew up on, The Next Generation. I think that has everything.
Correct answer.
Watching Picard at the moment, although I'm 2 episodes behind at the moment, and seeing Q come back into that is just fabulous, and I love it. And the opening line where Q looks at Picard and says something like, "Oh, this is how old you are," clicks his fingers and goes, that is just perfection to me. I just love it.
Rob, have you seen the trailer for season 3 Picard?
I have seen the trailer for season 3.
So that must have got you excited.
Hang on. I haven't seen that, and I deliberately haven't watched that yet because I felt that I shouldn't watch the trailer until I finished watching Picard in case it gives something away.
I don't want nothing away.
I know it's got to give something away. I don't want to watch it. Don't tell me. Don't talk about it. Don't tell me about it. I'll go. If you want to talk about it, I can go.
Simon, it gives nothing away except there is one.
Well, it must give something away. Somebody must be alive or not alive. Or there's no people in it at all.
Well,
there's no people in the trailer.
Picard's still alive, but you must have guessed if there's a season 3.
Hold on. Can I just? So we're all watching season 2 at the moment, right? The one with Q. That's season 2.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's been a trailer for season 3, but I didn't know that. I didn't know
yes,
that.
But nothing is revealed in it except the cast.
Well, no, I don't.
Oh my God!
He's such a purist.
Will Wheaton's not in it.
Well, do we know that? He might.
It might be a cameo. Anyway. So, but any other movies? I mean, Star Wars has anything? Were there any sort of magic moments where you remember the first sci-fi or some? Have there been any movies where God that was really really good? So Interstellar. Is there? Well, what are the things that in your top 10?
Star Wars was, as with everybody, is a sci-fi geek. Loves those films, and. No, I can't believe that. I was going to say, as a kid, I used to have huge arguments with my mother. Huge, screaming, shouting arguments. So much so that she once had to stop the car and have a word with me because I was annoyed with her that she never called me Luke. Like, we were driving down at Sunwell, Prittlewell Chase, and it's hard to pull over on that road. She had to pull over because I was screaming at her so much that I was so upset with her that I was never called Luke.
How old were you when this happened?
This was
last week. Last week, yeah.
So yeah.
So,
long
well,
suffering mother.
may the name be strong with you. I guess. Well, now I know what to call you next time I see you. Well, that's interesting. So, worst sci-fi you've ever experienced. Give us your highlights of the worst sci-fi.
So, as much as I love Doctor Who, I also hate Doctor Who.
Oh,
And it really, really upsets me about how poor it's got over recent times. So when Russell T Davies relaunched it, for me it was fabulous. Some of the best sci-fi I've ever seen. Girl in the Fireplace, Blink, those sort of Moffat written episodes are perfection. Blink, I will go back to and watch again and again and again.
I think Blink is possibly one of the best Doctor Who episodes ever. I would
absolutely. It's just wonderful, and he's not even in it until on the TV screen, but he runs down the road at the end of it, and it's just wonderful. And to see what has been happening over the last few years, it just kills me and upsets me. Like, I watch it because it's Doctor Who, but do you
mean just the latest iteration? You don't mean Capaldi. You mean
I think
Jodie,
some of Capaldi was moving in that direction.
It did sort of start to.
Yeah, absolutely, and the same with it. I just don't think she's a good Doctor. I think they've overcomplicated it, and there's no rhythm to it, and it's just.
I think a lot of that's not. I don't think any of that really falls at the feet of Jodie Whittaker, though. I think it is predominantly the writing that has done that. I think, from my point of view, I feel
partly, but I just don't think she's pulled the character off. She's not what I expect of a Doctor, and I don't think she's quite quirky enough and different enough. Yes, she's a woman, but that to me that she's just not there. And
I totally agree with you, Robert. And again, I agree that it isn't. I don't think it matters male or female, race, color. Like none of that for me. None of that matters about the Doctor. But I don't think she has pulled it off, and I can see you waving, Stephen. I don't think it's her fault. I think it is the writing, but it's also the direction, right? I think that she. I don't know. So it feels like she's trying too hard in some ways. I don't know, but if
the writing's not strong, she might be trying really hard to fill in the gap by really overdoing the character or overdoing parts of the character. Because if the writing is not good, the responsibility can end up being on the shoulders of the actor. But it doesn't mean it's the actor's fault.
I think the Doctor Who that's worked well is at the beginning of the episodes they go somewhere. There's a baddie there. They defeat it. You get scared. End of. They go somewhere else, and that's the way it works and the way it should be done. Why overcomplicate it?
And Doctor Who is not a time travel show. The time travel is the means to get to the next story.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
That's it. Any other awful highlights moving away from Doctor Who? I'm glad we've had a therapy session for the Doctor Who.
I was thinking about this because I'll watch anything. However bad it is, I will sit there and watch it. So I googled worst sci-fi shows of all time, and on a website
4 Men in a Wormhole. Did that come up?
Well, there's a lot on the GamesRadar.com. The worst sci-fi show they rated was the 2007 version of Flash Gordon.
Do you know what? I was actually. I've actually seen this recently, and I was just thinking, I'm not going to interrupt, but the worst sci-fi I was just thinking that I've seen most recently is that Flash Gordon series. It is so awful.
So it's a brilliant quote as well. I'm going to read it because they say it started out as bad because it was so funny, but halfway through though, they sort of got bored and discovered a level of dull that fell apart and made it completely unwatchable.
It's true. It's true. Actually, because I thought, oh, this will be funny. I'll watch Flash Gordon, and I was dead wrong. There was really nothing funny about watching it, and nothing even entertaining about it either.
They didn't have the right music either. They said
no. I was a big fan, so I went into it with being a big Flash Gordon fan, and then thinking, I'll tolerate anything, but it was really bad. Yeah, I concur with that.
Did any of you ever watch, I think it was a Disney movie, and it was they had to make it to, because Star Wars was so big. I think it's called The Black Hole with...
yeah, I remember. I haven't seen this for years, but I remember watching it as a kid.
Yeah, and it's got, what's his name from Fiddler on the Roof in it, even though he doesn't sing.
Topol. He's in Flash Gordon. He's in Flash Gordon as well.
Oh, well, maybe he's in Flash Gordon. I'm getting confused, but definitely The Black Hole. Anyone ever watched The Black Hole?
No, yes, I've seen it as a kid, but I can only remember it through the lens of when I saw it as a kid. I've got no kind of conception of watching it as an adult and whether it's any good or not.
Well, if you want to see something dreadful, that is something I really do recommend.
Yeah.
No, yes, I'm looking at the cast list. Yeah, Ernest Borgnine, I can never say his name, who was famous in many films, but for people our age was in Airwolf. He was in it. Maximilian Schell was in it. Topol was not in it. So
you're thinking of Flash Gordon.
Really, I made that up.
He was in Flash Gordon.
He was in Flash Gordon. Anyway, it's a dreadful movie. So if you're looking... It's got a great cast.
Do you know what? I saw that as a kid, probably around 1978 or whenever, probably a few years later. And I just thought it was captivating. The whole idea that it was a black hole and they were traveling in a black hole. I thought the whole thing was brilliant. I mean, I can't remember any of it now, but as a kid, it did have an impression on me. It did leave an impression on me.
It had an impression on me. It was dreadful. It's also very long. So anyway, Rob, if you want something to watch that's very long and very bad, go watch The Black Hole.
I've made notes.
So we're going to move on to the main event, the quiz. And I just want to remind the listeners, obviously avid listeners, especially our French audience who are huge, that so far, after 2 rounds, and this is a quiz where the guests ask us, the hosts, the questions, Adam will obviously need to be reminded because he's obviously forgotten that he's in the lead.
I'm still in the lead. See, I didn't. See, I'd forgotten all about that. I really had forgotten all about that. But
yeah, who's in the lead?
I think Adam might be, and supposedly he's forgotten all about it. Not too sure. Anyway, he's on 6 points. I'm second. I'm second on 3 points. Tal is unfortunately Watford on 2 points, and Simon is Norwich on 1 point, and he's really, really angry about being on 1 point from what I recall, because people just don't let him answer the questions, even when he knows the answers, supposedly.
Adam's too fast. It's not fair.
Adam, you got a question?
I'm just thinking though, with Rob's penchant for Doctor Who, that this could be Simon's quiz. I think
shall I play my Joker?
It's the best Doctor Who knowledge. So I'm thinking he could be in for a good scoring round here.
He could be in luck, and I won't be. So here's going to get Rob's going to ask the question, and then each of us will, if we know the answer to this as it is, make the noise with our buzzer and raise our hand, and then Rob will decide whose hand he saw first, and then he will let them answer the question. If they get it wrong,
should we just have a quick sound check?
Yeah. Simon, what's your sound? That's a high bell. Who's got a low bell? Well, that's going to get confusing. I'm glad it was well worked out.
It's been compressed on your.
Okay, so we've got. I don't even know which one's the high bell. Which one's the Tel's the high bell?
No, I'm the low bell.
Oh, it's the. See, right. I think Rob's definitely using the hands. And Adam, you are.
That'd be funny if his note was in the middle. Okay.
Oh, it's a bit quiet, but yeah, there's
do you know what? I might use this one.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That's a good one.
And then my one is
good.
Nice.
I think I'm the only one with a sci-fi sounding.
Yeah, mine's
mine's an alien cool.
Is it? It sounds like an F1 racing car.
No, well, it's bouncing around maybe, but it's an alien sound. So, Rob, over to you. Let us hand over to Mr. Rams. Shoot us the first question.
Question 1. In Doctor Who, What was the name of Rose Tyler's mother?
Oh,
I can see her face.
Simon.
All I can think of is Bonnie, but I know it's not true.
Yeah.
Not Bonnie.
Ah,
the actress. Oh, it's a good question.
oh God.
Stephen.
Got nothing to lose. Carly.
It's not Carly.
Damn.
Oh man, I'm gonna kick.
Barbara.
Not
Barbara.
Barbara. Simon.
Daphne?
No.
Not Daphne.
Oh, I was gonna kick myself.
Tracy? Stacey?
Stacey. No. Close.
Sharon?
No.
Can we?
I
I think
think-
we.
I think
that
we
was-
failed.
I think we failed.
Bernard. Bernard.
Bernard.
No.
All right. So no one got that
okay.
right. What's the right answer, Rob?
What's the answer?
Jackie.
Oh,
Jackie.
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 Okay, moving on to the
I
next
can see the
question.
dad caught in that episode where he gets married and they get married. Oh,
Yeah.
God, there's
Yeah.
a car going round. He calls,
That was a good question.
It was
one
a
we
good
should have
question.
known,
Unfortunately,
actually.
the answer was really bad.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 2. Which actor plays Picard's clone in Star Trek Nemesis?
Oh,
Stephen.
I'm dyslexic, by the way, so I always forget the names of people. But Tom,
Correct first name.
that's enough. That's enough. The guy who also plays Bane in Batman. I would say Thomas Hardy, but that's a famous author.
Close
Huh?
enough. Tom Hardy.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I got a point. I got a point.
There you
Yeah. Well done. Good
go.
work.
Okay, which character speaks the first line in the original 1977 Star Wars movie?
The first line.
The first line.
Oh, I heard a bell go. I heard a
It
bell
was
go.
me. It was me. But now
Okay.
I don't know.
Simon.
Is it Darth Vader?
It's not Darth Vader.
Is it which character or which actor are you looking for?
Which character?
Which character?
Stephen.
I think it's. Oh, sorry. I think it's one of the soldiers when they're waiting for the stormtroopers to come through.
No.
Always one of the stormtroopers saying "get them" or something like that.
Tell.
Is it C3PO?
It is C3PO.
Oh, well done.
Stephen kind of half remembered it for me. But yeah, okay. All right.
Oh
Cool.
yes. Now, can I just say at this point, we've only got one more question, right?
Is that all? Okay.
How many got? How many got? How many got?
I had 7, but I was willing to cut it down.
No, keep going.
No,
Yeah, we
keep
can
going.
have a
Till I get
Simon,
one
we're
right.
just,
get
we're
a
just
point.
warming up to this. We're just
Yeah,
warming
yeah,
up.
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I haven't
Because
actually
right
worked out
now,
minutes
Hey,
sleep.
stop.
After 3 questions, I've got 1. Tal's got 1, and you 2 have got 0.
Big fat 0.
Okay.
So
right.
this does have a sci-fi link, so bear with me for a second. 2 actors have been in a Marvel film,
Oh,
a James Bond film, and a Star Wars film. Can you name them?
2 actors. You're looking at the name of 2 actors.
I'm looking for 2 actors who've been in a Marvel film, a James Bond film, and a Star Wars film.
Is it a point per actor?
I'll give you a point per tell.
Samuel L. Jackson,
Nope.
one of them.
Is it? Oh, hold on.
Oh,
Josh Brolin.
Nope.
Oh.
Adam Stephen?
Halle Berry.
Nope.
She was in X-Men and she was in James Bond.
Was she in Star Wars?
She was one of the stormtroopers. Oh, I know.
Go
I
on.
know. I know one of them.
Go on then. Stephen?
Daniel Craig.
Nope.
He was in
oh.
Bond. He was in
in
Star
Star Wars.
Wars.
Wasn't
He
in
was
Star
in
Wars.
Star Wars. And did he have a cameo in Marvel?
Adam
Natalie
Jones,
Portman. Natalie Portman.
No, Natalie Portman, Adam. No.
No, but she wasn't. She hasn't she been in Thor
Oh,
and she's been
question.
in Star
Yeah, but she's
Wars?
not been in Bond.
Oh
Uh,
God. And
Hang on a
Bond.
minute.
God.
Have I made these too hard?
No,
This
this
is
is
No,
good.
no,
I
we like this
question. I
one.
like this question. Just
Okay.
what we got? What we got?
Oh, I got one. Maybe. He's Max maybe is it what's his name? The German guy, Maximilian Shift or something. He has a small role in The Force Awakens near the beginning, and I'm sure he's in Bond, one of the Bonds with Roger Moore. No one knows. Maximilian something or another, or
do you
got beard?
Do you mean Mads Mikkelsen?
Yes, there's also in Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, he's in Casino Royale, Doctor Strange, and Rogue One.
I got one of them. I'll give myself.
Now, I think the other one is more of an obvious one.
Chris Evans?
Nope.
The radio DJ, or
this is a tricky one.
this is a tricky one.
No googling.
Very
Adam.
good podcast.
No
listening.
googling.
I'm not googling.
Minutes of silence. Might have to edit
Just
down.
put their hands in front of
I
them.
just don't know. I don't know the answer.
Might have to
I mean, I
edit the
thought-
silence, the pauses between.
No, this is dramatic, Tal. This is dramatic.
Dramatic pause.
There's people shouting at their iPhone.
Oscar Isaacs, is that his name?
No, not Oscar Isaac.
Jason Isaacs.
Jason Isaac, not Jason either. Hello to Jason.
We don't know.
No, maybe I got the wrong name. Who's the guy in Moon Knight?
Oh, the guy from Guardians of the
yes.
Galaxy. Batusta.
Chris Pratt.
Not Chris Pratt.
Batusta, the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's been in Bond. He's been in Marvel.
Who are you talking about?
Dave Batusta, whatever his name
Yeah.
is.
Dave Bautista. The wrestler, Dave Bautista. No, not the wrestler, Dave Bautista.
Because he's been in Bond and he's been in Marvel.
Yep.
Yeah, he is in Guardians of the Galaxy as I
Yeah.
can't remember the character's name, but yeah.
The guy, you're right. The guy from Moon Knight was in Rogue One, wasn't he?
No,
Yeah.
he was. He's
No,
in
not
the.
Rogue One.
He's in the second
Solo.
trilogy.
Solo,
He's
yeah.
in 7, 8, and 9.
Force Awakens, yeah.
Hmm.
Vin Diesel.
Not Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel hasn't been in MCU, has he? Oh yeah, he's does one of the voiceovers for
He's Groot.
Groot. Yeah, okay.
Go on, Rob. I think you have to tell us.
Ryan Reynolds.
Not Ryan Reynolds. Shall I
Tell
tell you
us.
then?
Yeah, tell us.
Yes, please.
Benicio del Toro was in License to Kill,
Yeah, of
Guardians
course.
of the Galaxy and Thor, Dark War, Infinity War, and The Last Jedi.
There
Very
you
good.
go. There you
There
go.
you
So
go.
I'm going to claim 0.5.
Half a point if it
Half
comes
point.
down to it.
Yeah. All right. Next one, Rob.
Okay. Which novel opens in AF 632 with central characters Lena Crown and Bernard Marx?
Mhm.
Now, I studied this for my A levels.
None of us have done A levels, so you know.
It's not
Oh,
Fahrenheit 451, is it? Whatever.
It's not Fahrenheit 451, no.
So you've studied it for A level.
Yeah, I had to compare it with 1984.
Oh, it's Brave New World. George
Brave New World.
Brave New
Yep,
World.
correct.
Yeah, Brave New World by I've forgotten his name, but anyway, yes.
So Adam
Great.
got a point now, I think.
Yeah, I think I did.
Okay. In Star
Damn
Trek,
you, Adam. Sorry.
in Star Trek Wrath of the Khan, who do we discover is the son of Kirk? Stephen.
Hold on. When you say discovers the son of Kirk, he
Spock.
jumped out.
Spock.
Hold on, I was not talking.
You were taking too long.
I mean, you've
No,
just
no,
got to
no, no.
answer.
When you say who discovers the
You
son
were like asking about the question rather than giving an answer.
Yeah.
Don't cut me off. So the son attacks Shatner when they beam into the cavern, but it's only after that, when the wife is talking to him, that he realizes it's his son.
Yes. So what's the name of his son?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, David. David.
What?
David Kirk.
It's not.
David
That's
Shatner.
half a point for David. Well,
They-
Hang on, but you
David
didn't
Shatner.
ask us. That wasn't the question.
That wasn't a
question.
question. You said who discovered the sun.
Who do we discover is the son?
That's not what you said.
That's not what you
yeah.
said.
I
That's
would have
what
got
he
that.
said. Anyways, David Kirk.
Close enough.
What's his surname? What's his
Bernard.
name? Oh yeah, David Marcus Kirk. Kirk Marcus.
The third one. Okay.
Bernard.
Final question.
Oh.
I think this is quite an easy one.
Hmm.
What name is the planet Arrakis, better known as? Oh, I saw Stephen's hand go up first.
Oh.
June.
June. Well
Yeah.
done.
Well done.
There we go.
Oh,
And
I've
that's
got to
easy one.
say-
That one.
I got to say that was a profound round that really changed things around.
I think it's
except
an
for
inside
Simon.
job. I think it's an
Yeah.
inside job.
Can
to
I have a
pick.
point for knowing which TARDIS you've got as your background?
I know that one. I know that
It's
one.
not part of the quiz.
Matt Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's unfortunately not part of the quiz. So let's do a roundup on the points. So Adam got 1 point. Tal got 1 point. Simon almost got a few points, but didn't get any. And I got 3.5 points, which means
we
that
definitely
you-
should have stopped at 3 questions, I think.
I was going to, which means I'm just updating the scores, everybody. Adam's going to be really pleased because Adam is still in the lead.
Oh, thank God for that.
He's got 7. I've got 6.5.
Ooh.
Oh, Tal's got 3, and coming up fast behind is Simon on 1. So that's the.
I think, to be honest, I
dramatic-
could have got. I think I was there first with the June one. To be honest,
Well, you know, you've got to go with the quiz.
I
I only say what I see. So
I think
Yeah.
there was a bit of favoritism going on there.
It's funny. It's funny how the people who don't win always seem to find the reasons where the quiz is wrong somehow. But anyway, I want to thank Rob for engaging us in that delightful quiz.
can I just thank Stephen for sending me that bottle of wine before the quiz?
You've got to be nice to Stephen, otherwise, you know how you'll come out in the edit will be awful.
Exactly,
you know?
exactly.
You've got to be nice.
And on that bombshell of a result, this brings us to the end of episode 10, the one with the special guest this week, obviously being Rob Rams. Rob Rams, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure having you. Simon Cohen, as always, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. See you later.
And Adam Leach, thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure to still be in the lead of the quiz.
And Tal, thank you for being average in the quiz as always. Thank you for joining us.
I will sustain my averageness, I'm sure. Cheers.
Cheers. And this is me, your ever-boarding host, Stephen Grovitz, thanking all the listeners and viewers for sticking with 4 Men in a Wormhole.
4 Men in a Wormhole!